Well, hi guys, welcome back to the Kneady Homesteader channel. And I was not planning on making a video today because we're having stuff done at the house. We have electricians out and the house is kind of crazy. However, I have received a couple of comments now on my previous video regarding Washington State's ad for a canning course that they were having, where they used two photos that showed, one showed stacked jars that were double and triple stacked canning jars in a pantry, which I just feel like these photos might have been AI created, but I could be wrong. But a lot is wrong in that photo, in that particular photo that a lot of you have commented on, and I completely agree, including canned foods with like commercial lids on them, so jars that none of us recognize. So it's just questionable. However, I have had a couple of comments state that you can double stack and triple stack jars. So I am just going to come back with this video. One comment in particular, and I will try to leave it on the screen if I can take a screenshot of it and leave it for you so you can read it too. It's from Sushi Courier, and she says ball canning jars can be stacked even when filled with preserved food, according to Ball's customer service. Ball states there is no recommended limit on the number of layers, and that cardboard dividers between layers are, and she puts in capital, optional. However, it's important to ensure jars are properly sealed and stored in a safe, stable location to prevent tipping or damage, says Ball. Okay, so I scoured the internet looking for this information to back this up. And I couldn't find it. I hit up my girlfriend Constance over at Cosmopolitan Cornbread this morning. She also couldn't find it. I hit up Angie from Angie's Pantry. She also couldn't find it. And so Angie and I were on a two-way call with Ball Canning. So we called, because if we can't find it, we're going to call. So we called Ball Canning and talked to their customer service. And I actually have all the information right here written down. We do have a case number, but she recommended we don't give our case number out. But the lady's name is Catherine. She was a customer service representative over at Ball Canning, and she said absolutely. So we read her this comment and we asked if she could confirm or deny this. Of course, without a case number, she couldn't go in to see who Sushi Courier could have spoken to. She looked up, unfortunately, Sushi Courier, or Courier is the only name that we have, and there is no name for that user that ever called Ball. She could not find anything under it, assuming Sushi called. At least she didn't use her YouTube name, but she could only speak to what Ball suggests. As far as stacking jars, Ball only recommends stacking empty jars too high with cardboard in between. This is to protect the rims and the glass from chipping. But they do not recommend stacking empty jars more than 2 layers high. Okay? With cardboard in between, they recommend to prevent chipping. As far as food, jars with food in them and stacking them on a pantry shelf, they do not recommend filled jars to be stacked at all, period, with or without cardboard. Do not do it. They strongly recommend against it. And for all the reasons that most of us canners know. We know that Ball Canning uses plastisol. That plastisol, and I don't have canning jars near me, but I do have I do have some vitamins. So when you have a canning jar and you have plastisol, or you have a compound that has sealed your jar, when you put weight of another jar, just another jar on it, let alone the liquid and the food that's in it that adds to the weight, you are putting pressure on this seal. The more and then I'm gonna grab more vitamins. You triple stack them. That's a lot of weight on this sealant. How do you think that that's going to hold up over time? It's not. What's going to happen is that this seal is going to give out, but then it's going to release, okay? And then it's going to false seal because it's got so much weight on it. It's going to pop, and then it's going to be still on there because it's got so much weight on it, and it's sticky. So when you open this, you are opening up yourself to all sorts of bacteria, mold, botulism, you name it. So they don't recommend at all stacking at all. If you've got home canned food, jars filled with food, Ball Canning says do not stack them, not even with cardboard, because you are putting yourself at risk by popping that seal on the jars underneath. Not even with jelly, no food. That is their recommendation. If you want, call Ball's customer service. Ask them yourself. I will say, I even went on, and I'm going to spin you around for this because, and I'm going to leave links because I'm backing all of this up with evidence, okay? Okay, this is from Washington State University. This can be found at Marler Clark, the food safety law firm. Okay? Washington State University offers helpful advice to home canners. We're just going to scroll right down to number 4. After your goods are canned, store them without the rings around the jar lids. If the seal should break, you want to know about it. You don't want the ring holding the lid in place. This is why we don't put the rings on our jars when we store them. And if you have to, store them on there loosely. But this is the main reason why we store the jars without the bands, okay? Besides, that lets you reuse the rings instead of buying a new batch every time you can. For the same reasons, don't stack your canned goods. Store them in a single layer. This is coming from Washington State University. The same people that put out the ad for their canning workshop or their online class, putting a photo of triple stacked jars. It says right here, do not stack your canned goods. Store them in a single layer. This is why I made the video calling it out, because they're contradicting themselves with their ad, the photos that they put in the ad. And while we're at it, because I was over at Penn State right here. This is Penn State University from their website. This is Penn State Extension Office. Canning jars and lids. Right here. So we can clear this up too. Bands are reusable unless they're rusty, unless they're bent, or unless they're dented. So, I've had people come on my videos, when I talk about using, washing your lids in hot soapy water before you use them instead of taking them right out of the box and putting them on your jars. Getting rid of your rusty bands. If there's a little bit of surface rust on the outer part of the band, that is fine. But if you have any rust on the inside of your bands, you're not supposed to be using them. Why? Because that rust, we don't want rust anywhere near our food. So in the canning process, when that air is being evacuated and sometimes seepage happens, that rust is sitting right next to your lid and where that air is being evacuated from the jar. You don't want rust anywhere near your food at any time for any reason. If it's a little bit of surface corrosion on the outer part of the band or the ring, it's okay. But when your inside of your canning ring is getting rusty, it needs to be replaced. They're not very expensive, but it's better to be safe than sorry. And this is just good, clean, healthy canning practices. And this has been taught, you know, I mean, this was all handed down to me from the women who have canned before me. You know, the canning queens here on YouTube that taught me how to can. But all of this can be backed by all of the trusted sources, if you will. This is why I called Washington State University out, because what they recommend did not match the advertisement that they had, which they have since pulled that ad. Okay, you can't find it anymore on their site. You know, there has to be some responsibility and accountability when you have a voice, when you are sharing. And I know for me personally, I try the best that I can. Do I mess up sometimes? Sure, everybody does. But the information that I put out, to the best of my knowledge, I can back up with evidence, with trusted websites. So I hope this helps clear some things up. Don't use anything rusty on around your canning. Store your canning jars without the bands or the rings, just so that no rust can you know, those things are only like little tin rings. Your canning jars don't need them, and it's best that you don't have them on there, because if for some reason something is going on in that jar that you're not visually seeing, and that lid pops because there's some bacteria in there, you want that seal to pop. You want to be able to know that, oh, there was something going on in that jar, and you can discard it. And you don't want to stack them. Why? Because you're putting weight on that compound. And the more weight that you put on it, like, it's a ticking time bomb. Could it be safe? Sure. Could it pop? Yes. Could it pop and reseal itself and then you have a false seal? Yes. And so that's what we're concerned about. So again, you're going through all of this money and work, the time, the love that you're pouring into these jars. Why would you take any risk at messing any of that up? You know, you're putting food by for a reason, for a purpose. You're going through all of this work, all of this time. I mean, for some of us that grow our own food and can it, we start in the early months of spring. We wait until harvest, end of summer, to then clean and prepare the food that we're now going to put in these jars. We put all of this time, all of this effort, sometimes 6 months growing something from seed, only to cut corners, to risk things like using rust, to double stacking in our pantry only to have things possibly pop. Like, it's like a follow through. It's like, if you're going to do it right. Why wouldn't you want to? It's baffling to me. I just personally, it's baffling to me. But I'm going to leave all of these links down below. You can call Ball yourself if you want. You can let them know that Angie and Heather talked to Catherine, and she says when jars are empty and you're just storing empty jars, they can be double stacked. They do not recommend any higher than double stacking. Why? Because they can fall, because they can break, because the weight on those jars can cause chipping if they move, if they shift. So they recommend double stacking with cardboard in between for empty jars, and filled jars with food, absolutely no stacking at all. Do not stack them, do not store them with the bands. That's their recommendation. It's also the recommendation of Washington State University, who then put up a photo contradicting what their own advice is. So this is why I made the video, because it just wasn't adding up, and that it's up to us as a community to kind of hold these, you know, trusted sources responsible for good information, because not all of us have the eyes and the ears of discernment. Not all of us have all of this, you know, 10 years, 20 years. Some of you have been canning for 50 years, you made posts, which I just love so much. Some of you have been canning for decades. And this has always been like the thing that we've done, right? So we have a lot of new canners. I have a lot of new canners that are here that are canning for the first time this year. We want them to have good, trusted information. So when websites that we lean on and we look to for good information puts out very bad photos in an advertisement for learning how to can, or, you know, a seasoned canner who might have questions still, you know, I felt the need to raise an alarm, because you know, just choosing high quality photos for an ad to make it look pretty isn't good enough. It's not good enough. So anyway, all right, I'm going to get off the soapbox. I'm going to be back, though. I'm going to make another video, because I want to talk about the USDA book. And I want to take a look at the difference between the complete canning guide versus the complete canning book. And so I'm going to show you the difference, because I own both of them now. And there are some differences, and I will tell you which one I recommend for the, if you could only buy one canning book, well, this would probably be the one that I would choose. This or a ball blue book, which is basically almost identical to this. But I will share that in another video. We'll talk about it. So I will be back. Probably not today. I promise that next time I come back, I'll look better. All right, I love you guys. God bless. I want everyone canning and enjoying the canning process and falling in love with it like I have, like so many of you have. It is amazing. It is empowering. It is love in jars. I love it. I love it. And I want everyone else to love it. And I want you to do it safely, and I want your investment, you know, you're putting all of this food by for your family, so that when they walk in the pantry, when they grab a jar of home canned food, they taste the love, they see the love, they smell the love, they taste the love. Like, that's mom, or that's grandma's, or that's grandpa's. I have a lot of male canners, Canning Kings on here too. You know, it is a gift. It is a gift that you're doing for your family. You know, my family, when I couldn't cook, when I was hospitalized, they loved being able to taste my home cooking without me actually cooking it, being able to. So we do this with love, and we want to do it right. We want to make it beautiful. We want to make it taste incredible, and we want to bless our loved ones with it. That's why we do it, or bless ourselves, right? For many people that can, you know, and it's only for them. It's a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful life skill that I want everyone to enjoy, and I want to be clear-cut about the do's and the don'ts to make it easy, and to do you know, the newcomers that are coming in. You know, I don't want to do a disservice to them. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. Links will be down below. God bless, and I'll see you soon.